And now for the Greek of Acts 18, 18 through 23. And so Paul has just appeared before Gallio in the previous podcast and section on Acts 18. And then Sosthenes has been beaten. Interesting. Where is Paul while Sosthenes is being beaten? And then, is it possible that he's in jail? Acts doesn't tell us that. But verse 18, and Paul, still having remained some days with the brothers, or maybe we should cut it off here. Paul, still having remained certain days. So this is, see the internal lengthening of meno. The alpha, it's a liquid verb, which doesn't do a sigma. So sos would normally be what you have there. So this is basically an aorist active participle, nominative masculine singular from prosmeno. So Paul, still having remained certain days, having bid farewell to the brothers. So let's pick up to the brothers with having said goodbye. C is the key to a hidden sigma. So we have a hidden sigma alpha. So this is an aorist. It's an aorist middle, because if it was an aorist passive, it would have a theta eta, but men are passive participles. The word I believe is apotasso. So it's an aorist middle participle, nominative masculine singular. He himself having said goodbye to the brothers, he sailed away, come sail away, into Syria. So this is there's the augment, X out of pleo, to sail. So this is, I think this is probably imperfect. He was sailing away into Syria. Now he stops at Ephesus on the way. So we have to remember that. He drops Priscilla and Aquila off at Ephesus. So I think this is imperfect because ek pleo, all the letters of the present stem are there, but with an augment. And with him, Priscilla and Aquila. Notice that she is mentioned first, which suggests to me that she is the dominant minister of the two, perhaps. She is mentioned first a number of times, which is striking to me. Now, Aquila is mentioned first the first time, which I think that pushes away from theories that maybe she was, what have I heard argued sometimes? I've heard it argued that maybe she was, I don't know, I can't remember. But somebody had argued that she might be first because she's of a higher social status, or because he was, not a free man. I don't know. I've heard people try to explain why she would be mentioned first. But the fact that he is mentioned first in the introduction suggests to me that the only reason she would be mentioned first elsewhere is if she is the dominant Christian, as you were, or the dominant minister of the team, or the dominant personality of the team. So, I have 4 sisters, and there's one pair especially where we tend to mention her first. It's because she tends to be the more dominating personality of the couple. So I do think it is significant, especially in such a patriarchal culture, that Priscilla is mentioned first. I think she is the dominant minister of the two. With him, Priscilla and Aquila, having shaved at Cenchrea his head. So again, this is a liquid verb, doesn't do a sigma, but that alpha indicates that this is a aorist participle, probably aorist middle, and nominative masculine singular from Cairo. Although it could be Cairo, I think it is Cairo though. But liquid verbs do internal lengthening in their aorist, so it could be Cairo. I'd have to look it up. But Cenchrea is the port town, the head, for he was having a prayer, or he was having a vow. So he's made a vow that he's going to redeem when he gets to Jerusalem. Ekein is the imperfect of echo. Verse 19. And they arrived at Ephesus. Again, katantao, I'm guessing that this sigma alpha tells me it's aorist. So it's aorist, active, indicative, third plural from katantao. They arrived at Ephesus. This is a crassus of kai ekenus, and them, but them is the object. So he left, and he left them there. This is an unusual use of autou, not very common at all in the New Testament. But Luke's a sophisticated writer, and so it means basically there. So the genitive neuter article can mean here or there in a spatial kind of way. Okay, way to go, Luke. This is katalepo. So the fact that we don't have the letters there, lape, it's not all there, suggests that this is the second aorist, and it's lost an epsilon. So this is the aorist active indicative third singular from katalepo. So, and he left them there, but he himself, intensive, when autos is in the nominative case, it intensifies the subject. But he himself, having gone into the synagogue, was dialoguing or debating with the Jews. So apparently he didn't leave immediately from Ephesus. He spends a little time debating before catching, the next flight out. Ace elf is the aorist of erchomai, right? So ace erchomai, nominative masculine singular. This is Xi is the key to hidden sigma. So hidden sigma alpha, aorist. So aorist middle, indicative third person singular from dia lego. Okay, let's go on. Oh, no, I'm done. I've done it. Okay. No, here we are. Sorry. Them asking upon more time to remain. So it's genitive absolute, pronoun on the genitive, participle in the genitive. Erotao is present. My aunt is an active participle, so this is a present active participle, genitive masculine plural. Them asking upon more time to remain. This is the aorist infinitive of meno. How do I know it's aorist? Because the alpha, I, 6 out of 7 infinitive forms end in I. This is the aorist one. And then internal lengthening especially. So this is the aorist active infinitive of meno. To remain, he did not consent. Sen, we know sen, right? Aorist active indicative third singular from epinuo. He did not consent, verse 21, but having taken his leave and having said, so this is again, Xi is the key to hidden sigma. Hidden sigma alpha is aorist. So aorist middle, participle, nominative masculine from apotasso. Aping an aorist, again, aorist active indicative, nominative masculine singular from lego. This is a sentence that most textual scholars do not think is original. And I talked in the podcast a little bit about the debate here. This particular sentence is found in the Byzantine textual tradition, so it's in the majority of medieval manuscripts. Therefore, it made its way into the Textus Receptus, which is the Greek text behind the King James. So this is in the King James because it's the Byzantine text. It's also a Western reading. Remember, I've mentioned in previous videos about Codex Beza, Codex D, which has a significantly longer version of Acts in it. A lot of stuff added. But the Alexandrian texts don't have it. Again, I think most scholars would say, go with the shorter reading, the Lectio Brevior. So it's probably, they would say it's not original. No problem with the verse. It could very well be original. I can see both sides on this one. I talk about that a little bit in the podcast. But basically what it says is, it is necessary me, by all means, the feast, the coming one, to make in Jerusalem. Now, this is not the form of Jerusalem used in the earliest part of Acts. However, I read an article arguing that as we go further into Acts, Luke more and more uses this form. So again, that seems indeterminative as to whether that's a good argument for the originality or not non-originality of this sentence. So this, of course, this sentence would fit with the shaving of his hair. But at the very least, all manuscripts of Acts record this statement at this point. Again, I will return to you, God willing. So this is, psi is the key to hidden sigma, so we have a hidden sigma. This is future, therefore. Future active indicative first singular from Anna Campo. You know Anna. So I will return to you. This is a genitive absolute here, God willing, the Lord willing, Deo volente. God's in the genitive, and this present active participle's in the genitive. Okay? And he went out, there's no and here, but I almost have to supply it. He went out from Ephesus. So this is aneko, maybe anekomai, I'm not sure, but it's aorist passive in form because of the theta eta. So aorist passive indicative, third singular, but he went up from Ephesus. Verse 22. And having gone into Caesarea, and having gone up and having greeted the church, he went down into Antioch. Okay, so here endeth the second missionary journey. A lot of participles of motion. Again, it's up and down, not north and south here. So he went down to Caesarea, which is on the coastline. Aorist participle because of the elf. This is the aorist of anabino. This is aorist, sigma alpha. This is aorist of katabino. A lot of aorists going on here. This is a present, this is an aorist active participle, non-masculine singular. This is an aorist active participle, non-masculine singular. This is an aorist middle deponent participle, non-masculine singular, because it's from aspadzomai, omide's deponent. Katabino, this is an aorist active participle, third singular, from katabino. Okay, 23. And having made time, certain time, he went out. So he leaves Antioch on his third missionary journey. This is aorist, active participle, non-masculine singular. This is aorist because of the elf, aorist active indicative, third person singular from exerchomai. Having gone through in order the Galatian country and Phrygian, one article suggests these are both being thought of as a singular region of sorts, a big blob. Strengthening all the disciples. So this present active participle from something like sterizo. Okay, and those are the verses for today. And so tomorrow we will see what was happening back at Ephesus while Paul was doing all this traveling around.